Hello and welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Quicc Gains weekly live stream. So today we have a special esteemed guest. He is a product evangelist, a content creator, a YouTuber, a Instagram influencer, a Facebook group owner, a giggle out in the background. He is a kind of a guy who would quite literally not let you leave San Diego without the hoodie from his back, because he doesn't basically know when the next time he's going to get a hoodie from TubeBuddy, and he wants you to have one. Hence, I've got his hoodie and he's got a t-shirt. So we have swapped clothes. It's not weird, I promise. He works for Tube a little bit. He's a brand evangelist for TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is doing many things. If you're not sure who they are, they run weekly live streams called the 101 weekly live stream. They do how-to content, tutorial content, help YouTube creators create. Rob does the same thing on his channel. And he's also launched a Patreon service as well for his own membership community as well. I think it's $2 a month.
Yeah,
it's a minimum
like $1 a month.
$1 a month. $1 a month. Yeah. It's like a no-brainer. So I introduce you, Rob Balasabas, and I got that right. I'm not YouTube's captioning autocorrect thing because we can actually spell.
Awesome. Dan, thanks, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Intro in life, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I need that intro every time I go on a podcast or something. But yeah, no, awesome. Good to be here. I'm used to saying good to have you here. I'm not used to being a guest.
Wow. It's the first time for everything.
That's right. No, that's awesome.
Today we are going to dig into your brain. I figured it would be really good for people to get an understanding and a feel for the man behind the consistency and wisdom along the way. And that the whole point of the Quicc Gains live stream that we want to bring to our audiences every single week is not necessarily learning the tactics and how to do the thing, because you can binge watch your content and TubeBuddy's content and other great creators out there to learn that. It's how to really gain the momentum, the consistency, the drive to do the thing. And you're probably the most consistent person that I know, or certainly one of them in terms of creating. So we can learn.
Yeah. I mean, first, thanks again for having me on. I love Quicc, guys. I mean, I use Quicc all the time for all my stuff, especially like LinkedIn videos. And so yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I mean, you guys are making huge strides and just out there everywhere. Dean, good to see you, Dean. That's my boy right there. Dean, good to see you, man. Militia as well, good to see you. Good morning. Yeah, I mean, consistency, I think, getting the momentum and stuff, it is very much consistency. When I first started YouTube before TubeBuddy, I was trying to like upload every now and then, because I was more focused on LinkedIn, as you know, and LinkedIn Live was a big thing, and LinkedIn videos. And so that's what I started doing first. But yeah, consistency. So I was consistent there, not so much on YouTube. But then, even before TubeBuddy, I started paying attention to YouTube. The reason being, I was growing my audience or personal brand on LinkedIn, but I felt like it was, I wanted to repurpose it and start building on a secondary platform. And so YouTube became the place. And so, I just started becoming more consistent. There it is. So started becoming more consistent. So on YouTube now, I upload twice a week, and then I do a live stream every Friday. So Monday, Wednesday upload, and then Friday, I do a live Q&A with my subscribers. And again, that's just so that we can build community. So, which is, I think, a big part. And we can talk about that as well, building a community on YouTube. And that's part of the consistency. And really, like you said, it's part of like having that drive. So the drive is to have a goal. That's what drives me to grow my channel, hit milestones and have a goal. And then the other source of the drive is also the community. So having to interact with the community and not talking to the air. Because I think a lot of people will create videos and they put stuff out there, but then they don't necessarily get that immediate feedback. And so you can get that by comments and reading comments, replying to comments. But if you want to go the next level, live streams has been really awesome for me in getting that feedback. So that's sort of like that's the reason why I do a lot of live streams. just want an interaction. You know, I'm an extrovert, so we can't travel these days. So live streams is the next best way to connect with the people, the audience.
So tell me, take us back a bit, because
Yeah.
I mean, you and I know each other for a few years now.
Yeah.
Probably more years than I care to think of, because it hasn't felt like long, but it probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, you started in agencies, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, how did you even get started there? I mean, take us from that point.
Yeah. So how did I get started in agencies? A buddy of mine. So I was in college, and then I did a bit of real estate sales, and then got kind of burnt out there and doing, you know, late nights and weekends. And I had a young family at the time. So then, started looking around. What other opportunities are there for work, and kind of with the skill sets that I had. And so a friend of mine started an agency. He started a digital marketing agency, one-man show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for some guys to do some account management." I knew nothing about online marketing at the time then. So I was a account manager / sales / like, you know, meeting with people and doing audits of their websites and stuff like that, SEO audits in person, you know, meeting with business owners, small business owners, plumbers, local printers, you name it, man, florists, you know, and trying to tell them like, hey, your website's not working, you know, your social media is not optimized, all this stuff. And so along the way, I started learning and understanding how these things work. Got introduced to the world of ClickFunnels. Was a huge Russell Brunson follower at the time, and consuming all that stuff. You know, John Loomer, I think is his name, the Facebook guy. So all that stuff, and so that's where, I mean, I spent probably 6-7 years in agency life. After that, a friend of mine started another agency in downtown Vancouver, and so connected with him and started kind of running that small show, and did that for about 6-7 years. And then, I was like, yeah, it's time for a change. A friend of mine was at Thinkific, and he was the first VP of marketing when there was like 8 people there. So Thinkific is an online course platform, and he was like the VP of marketing. There's 8 people. He was like, I'm pretty sure he was also support and many other hats. But yeah, it's he's like, hey, you should come down. Let's have coffee. I want to tell you about this company. They do online courses. I'm like, okay, like let's go grab coffee, you know? And then, 2 weeks later, I was on the team. I was doing support, and that's kind of where the Thinkific story started, and was there for a few years, and then now here at TubeBuddy.
I mean, you skipped
I skipped a whole bunch there.
You skipped a whole bunch there. So I mean, I know this, but the audience necessarily doesn't.
Yeah. But
I mean, I know that when you joined Thinkific, there was less than 10 people. Like, your employee number, was it 9?
I think officially I was number 12. Number 12. Yeah,
officially. Right.
Officially.
But when you left, how many were there?
I think close to 130, 140. So
that was a big amount of growth, wasn't it?
Huge growth,
man. And a lot went down. So I mean, I mean, what did you actually do day to day?
Oh man,
I think this kind of leads into this. There's a reason why I'm asking you this. I'm not just like trying to drill inside it, but you learned a lot about community and building community, and kind of helping people reach their aspirations and consistent action. I mean, there was a lot of stuff I know that you did. I mean, tell us a bit about how that came about, and what the inflection points were. The triggers and the changes like that took you from one leap to the next.
Yeah. So it was an experience, Dan, too. That's my first time really being part of I never really thought, I mean, I love Thinkific. I still do. I still have great friends there. I love the platform, love what they're doing. But when I was there and there was 12 of us, I was doing support. I was kind of burnt out from marketing, and, there was some place there for a marketer, but I was like, I'm going to take a step back. I'm kind of tired of sales funnels and building landing pages and, all that stuff. So let me do some support, do my 8 hours, answer tickets, and then do some calls, help some people out, understand how to build online courses, and I'll go home, go to my family, and that's the season for that. But very, very quickly, probably about 6 months, I started as a marketer, you're like, oh man, the Instagram has some opportunities here. We're not really posting. We're just like reposting our blog thumbnails. Like, let's like, if you guys don't care, I'll take over, like I'll take some pictures behind the scenes of the team and really like introduce, the human side of this company. And, so that I did that. I started growing the channel organically. Went from like, I don't know, I think it went from like a couple, like maybe 600-700 to I think about 15,000 over a couple years that I managed social there. And then they're like, during that time, they're like, okay, well, you like Instagram. Do you like Twitter? Like, do you know how to use Twitter? I'm like, oh, sure, I'll take Twitter over. And then eventually they're like, hey, why don't you take over our Facebook group? And that's where the community was. So our entire online community was in a private Facebook group. So I officially became, I was taking care of the community kind of unofficially on the side of my desk while doing support for, I would say, almost a year. And then they're like, well, why don't you just like be the community manager and own the group? And so that's where that whole community started. And so my life in the community side. So I started being the person inside the community. We started doing offline meetups, in-person meetups, and I started really enjoying that. Organizing that, we set up we created an ambassador program because a lot of people wanted to meet up in London and New York and Dallas, in Tokyo, and we're like, we can't go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. And so we can't go to all these places. We're just not there yet. So why don't we support our ambassadors, our super fans, to have meetups. We'll take care of some of the cost or most of the cost of those meetups, and kind of became the guy for that. And then when I started going, like when we would go for vacation or conferences, we would always make a point to also host meetups, and kind of became part of the culture at Thinkific when even other people, developers, they would go back to, Rio de Janeiro, or, one of our support members, she went back to Brisbane, Australia for vacation, and another one went to Bangkok, and they're like, hey, Rob, like I'm going to go somewhere. Maybe I'll do a meetup. I see what you're doing. Looks fun. Maybe I'll do a meetup. I'll just book like a restaurant and a pub or something and invite whoever's there. So it just became a thing, and so it was great. And then they would bring a bunch of hoodies and stuff, and then they would just go and meet up like with our course creators, our users in those cities. So it became a big part of it. We started really enjoying that. I started doing a lot of conferences because I moved from social media manager to community manager to then being part of the partnership team at Thinkific. And so part of that was going to conferences and speaking at, different events. And so got to meet the TubeBuddy team, and that's kind of where the story of TubeBuddy started, because they were also going after YouTubers, obviously. And we were also going after YouTubers because they are very like high on the candidate list for creating online courses and selling online courses. So we would be at the same conferences. I would meet, I would see Phil and Katie and Andrew there, and I'd be like, hey guys, good to see you guys again. What are you guys up to? What are you guys doing? So got to know the TubeBuddy team. Small team at the time. Huge like fan base, very loyal and very loyal community and influencer circles. And it was really, kudos to Phil and Andrew and building those relationships. There was no ambassador. It was just the way that they ran things. They were very generous with working with their partners. And so the time came, we did a summit together, Dan. So we did a summit together, Thinkific and TubeBuddy. And I was on the sort of like quarterbacking it from Thinkific and working with the TubeBuddy team, and it went really well. We did I think it was Make YouTube Your Business Summit. And so it was perfect, right? TubeBuddy to grow your channel, Thinkific to monetize your channel. And so we did a summit together. Went really well. We did a recap call, and the call was like, awesome. This is really good. We should do this again. By the way, like we're kind of thinking of like, we kind of want a face of TubeBuddy, somebody to be out there in the public and build relationships and stuff, like kind of like what you're doing. And so how's this going to look? And that's kind of where the conversation started. So
literally, we can do this right. It was this face right there. This was the face that they wanted.
Yeah. That's it, Dan. That's it.
So you joined TubeBuddy, and I mean, I've been following a lot of the content you've been creating for a while now. You and I, we learn a lot from each other, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I have noticed that a huge increase in your own channel as well. And yeah, and just to remind everyone, Rob's launched the Patreon membership. So just in case you're curious about that, there is a Patreon membership that you can join if you're ever so curious about it. But your own channel has exponentially gone in, well, it's just blown up. Not crazy blowing up, but you've certainly got a lot more progression and momentum than you did do even 6 months ago. And you're doing a lot more content, you're doing a lot more interviews. TubeBuddy's doing a lot more interviews, like a lot more. I mean, I see them all the time. Yeah. And I mean, tell us how that came about, and what do you think you've learned from that? You know, you obviously went from the first one you ever did. The first one's never going to be great, to the ones that you do more consistently now. I mean, what have you learned from point A to point B?
Yeah, there's a few things. So the first one that I ever did, the first live stream I ever did was with Eric Su out of LA. He owns Single Grain, huge agency, very successful agency, very nice guy, very humble. And he works with Neil Patel. They've got I forget what their podcast is called, but they've got an awesome podcast. And so they were doing, this is probably 3 years ago. And they invited us, me and Patty McGill, who I was working with at Thinkific, and he invited us, like, hey, you guys should come down and join us for one of our podcast interviews. Oh, okay, cool. It was like, so we joined them. And then afterwards, we realized that they do this every day. We're like, man, if they're doing this every day, maybe that's one of the things that's helped them grow. And so if they can do it every day, we can at least do it once a week. So, and it was, so we did it. So we're like, hey, Eric, like, we want to test this out. We want to do a live stream too on our channel. Why don't you be our first guest? And so, so he was our first guest. We did it, no fancy stuff like streaming, marketing school. That's it. Militia. Thank you so much. Marketing school. And so they didn't have, like, we just used Facebook because we only went live on Facebook, on our Facebook page, but we went live natively because after doing some Googling, we realized that you could go live natively. And if somebody joins as a guest, you can invite them to be a guest on your show, on the live stream. That's how we did it, man. No fancy, like, StreamYard or Restream or Ecamm. There it is, Eric Su. Awesome. And so that was it. Like, just go live. Went well. We had a bunch of people kind of show up. And so since then, now we schedule guests. We have an intake form. We're a little bit more organized. And so I think that's the thing that you learn, man. Like, I think you need to, if you want to do this consistently, just like anything, you need to have a process. And so continually trying to build a better process all the time. Whenever somebody is going to be a guest, I send them, on our show, I send them a type form that has all the questions. It also asks them for their picture so that we can create a thumbnail. We then create the thumbnail, schedule the live stream ahead of time, at least 4 days ahead, 4 to 7 days ahead. Because on Facebook, you can only schedule up to 7 days ahead. And then, we have a thumbnail, we have everything kind of set up. And then our social media team will start to promote it throughout the week. We'll do some stories and stuff like that, promoting it, and then asking people, what questions do you want us to ask our guest, right? And so that's really the whole goal of our live streams, is that we just want to shine. We want to shine light on our partners, and we want to share the stage, I guess, so to say, that we have with TubeBuddy, because we have a pretty decent sized audience. And so we want to share that with our partners, people that are talking about us, our affiliates, and even people that aren't affiliates or in our, inside crew, of TubeBuddy partners. I want to share this, share the stage. The second thing that we try to do there is also just to really bring value to our users, our community. So for example, last week I did a whole thing on TikTok. I interviewed a bunch of TikTok people and people that are crushing it on TikTok because it's a relevant thing right now. And so YouTubers are really interested in that. So we interviewed some TikTok experts, so I'll interview LinkedIn experts, I'll interview Instagram experts, because I want to know how they're using those other platforms to support YouTube and to grow their YouTube channel. And so, yeah, that's a lot of what we're doing. I think doing that, whether it's like a big influencer or a small channel or someone, like, it's not, I'll interview anyone as long as they can bring value to our community, and really just kind of open the door, sort of that partnership.
I mean, it's like you said before. I mean, the consistent thing with you has always been community and serving the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's almost the cornerstone of a lot of the growth that you've done. And there's a question from Mike, who's actually Quicc CEO.
Hey, Mike.
There's another Mike with the same surname. It may well be. I don't know. I've never met one.
I'm hoping
this may be my boss. Who knows? But if it is, then this is the CEO of Quicc, who doesn't have a profile picture, which I'll need to rectify later. But he says, can you speak a little on the challenge of balancing the frequency of content you distribute as a creator versus the importance of ensuring it's still quality content? I mean, how do you balance those two?
Yeah. So I think, I think my standpoint in this is that you're not always going to have the best quality if you're starting off. I mean, this, Dan. I mean, our videos were brutal, and then now we're able to, reinvest and get some decent equipment. Not to say that it's going to be better. That's just how it is. That's just how the game works. You can't go out and start videos and be like spending, thousands of dollars if you haven't started. You just got to start with what you have. You got to make sure that it's something you enjoy. And it's a way for you to learn the process. So, and a lot of times, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're just starting today and you're like, I'm going to go buy, a Sony camera or whatever camera, and you're going to buy all the equipment, all the lights, you're going to subscribe to all the fancy software, it'll probably take you longer to start going live. And it's probably going to be an excuse that you're going to use to yourself for you to not actually go live or create content or anything like that, because you're like, before I go live, I need to now understand this microphone or this camera or the settings or how to edit with Adobe, and rather than just like jump in, understand how the whole thing works, and it's not going to be good. But you're going to be able to look back and hopefully laugh at it, like, hey, look, I can't believe I did this video. I still have all my videos on my channel. If you go all the way back, you'll see videos using my webcam in like my bedroom in the corner, using like just the window light. And so I would have to make my videos after the kids went to school, but before they got home, but during the day, so that I would have light. Otherwise, I would be in like this weird dark room because I didn't have like any other light source. So as far as balancing that, the challenge of balancing frequency, just the more, I think the quantity will result in better quality as well, the more practice you have. And it's not just the camera, it's not just the editing, it's everything, the storytelling, the scripting, how you deliver your message, the value, all that stuff. It just comes with practice, right? And so now my videos take less to edit because I'm taking less takes, right? I'm not having to retake everything. Now I understand the way that I talk and the way that I need to edit it. So as I'm filming, I'm also seeing how I'm going to be editing it later. I'll do all the things, for thumbnails and stuff. Like I'll know what to take now, so that because I'm already thinking ahead for the edit. And so, it's just, you just got to be consistent. So, for me, like I said, I'm now to a point where it's 2 videos a week plus a live stream. So if you're starting out on videos, try to do something realistic, right? Don't try to shoot too high, because then if you don't hit it, then you'll be discouraged and you'll be like, oh man, I didn't do my 3 videos a week. Forget it. Like this isn't going to work. So if you just start with say 1 video a week, or I mean, that's what everyone's saying. But if you can only do like 1 video every 2 weeks, then make 1 really good video every 2 weeks and shoot for that. Once you do that consistently for, a couple months, then maybe up your production. But, don't shoot too high, because then you'll be like, oh, I missed this week's video. It's okay, I'll do it next week. And then next week comes along and you're like, oh, I missed this week's video. I'll do it next week. What's the big deal? I already missed 2 weeks, right? And so you just keep putting it off and off. So make something realistic and stick with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's I mean, you know this,
Yeah.
but the first videos I created, and my channel has been very, very small. I'm actually focusing on growing that a bit more. Quicc has just literally launched our own channel properly in the past sort of couple of weeks. We're doing the weekly live streams like we're doing here. We're creating more content. We're uploading at least once or twice a week as well. So, but I think it's the same for brands as it is for individual solopreneurs or individual creators as well.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very, very easy to go down the rabbit hole of perfectionism. And at the same time, I mean, even when I'm doing live summits, or when I was doing Facebook lives, or other kind of LinkedIn lives or whatever, you've seen the photos. When you actually see the view, there was a couple of shelves over my over my shoulder. There was like a YouTube subscribe button. Actually, that picture right on the wall there, that's behind me, like right here, that was on the shelves. I had like a magic 8-ball. But actually, if I panned the shot out slightly, I was sat at my wife's vanity unit, because it was the only room in the house that was quiet away from the kids. There was a bed right behind me. I'm sat in this like tiny 1.5 foot square on a stool. So I'd get up after doing an 1.5 hour live stream. I can't feel my rear end because the stool's really uncomfortable. But it's that whole fake it till you make it thing, isn't it? It's I mean, in frame, it looks like it's a studio. I mean, I'm actually in a studio now, so it's legit. It's an actual studio.
It's really good.
But before, I was absolutely like, the frame was just like, I think that someone called it like Vogue, online Vogue or something like that. It's just everything in frame looks great, but everything outside of it is just
I love it.
I love that question.
I think we should I'd love to see an Instagram account where it's just like the whole thing, like all the posts would be like behind the scenes of like what it actually looks like for all these big YouTubers, because you see it and it's like, oh my gosh, you were literally in your closet. I've had interviews with people and they're like, Rob, I'm literally in my washroom closet, and they're like, but it looks fine. They've been so great. And so big kudos to all those creators that are like, make it look so good.
The first time I ever spoke to Scott from Video Marketing World.
Oh yeah.
Lovely guy, like genuinely really nice guy. And he's got 300, 400,000 subscribers, multiple channels, like the founder of Video Marketing World. I mean, he's a well-known dude.
Yep.
And the first time I spoke to him, we had this very similar conversation. And this is probably a good thing to share with the audience as well, because I found it actually quite funny. And if anything, it made me more comfortable about the framing that I was doing at the time in my bedroom, my tiny little stool. Because I was talking to him about that. And at the time he had a logo up on the wall behind him. And it was a completely painted wall. And it was in like a corner of a room, and it looked all studio-esque, and it had like lighting there, and it looked really slick. And he said, let me just pan the camera around for you. And literally it was a corner of a room that had been painted. He hadn't even like keyed in with the paint. It was just like rough paint, but the roller marks are still like jagged all around the edges. And you panned round, and it was their junk room. There was a bed in there. There was like an old tricycle. There was just crap all over the tables. It was just an utter mess. But all you had, it was 2 lights, a camera, a corner of a room that was roughly painted, and a logo that had been Velcroed or something to the wall. And he was like, I'm a professional YouTuber.
I'm a YouTuber. Yeah. It's all how you frame it. It's all how you frame it. I mean, I used to work, now I got a bit of a bigger room. We've got a 2-bedroom and den here in our condo. And so we kind of, switch things around for the longest time. If you guys look at some of my older videos, I was like in a 10 by 12 room. It's our den and used to be our daughter's bedroom. But yeah, and it's just, you got to be creative, and there's cameras out there, even your phones. I think you can get apps that are like wide angle and all those things. If you really want to get fancy, there's lights that are very affordable. to kind of brighten up the space if you don't have windows like I did. So yeah, just being super creative. And again, it's just people just want to connect with you, and don't let, oh, I only have this corner. You know, Scott, man, he's just got a little corner, right? So it works. Jeez. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm
just
just
be
gonna
super
show you.
creative.
Not that you can quite see this very well. We're literally doing the run and gun creation mode right now,
Yeah.
because that is basically my view.
Nice.
Right now.
Love it. I love it.
2 little lights, a Canon M50. There's a box light that I got for, I think it was like $18 or something stupid off of Amazon. It's just sat on a stand on my desk.
Nice.
And right behind me, I don't mind showing you this, I've got 2 little lights. They're about $30 each on a light stand behind me. And it's just shining up on the wall behind me.
That's
it.
it.
That is my studio.
That is it. That is it.
It doesn't have to be hard. You haven't got your lights on. Why not? I'm not feeling the vibe.
Which one? The blue one? Oh,
yeah.
I need to turn it on. Hold on. Oh, there we go. We got the lights. And it's kind of, it's funny too, like the littlest things. I started using this because out of necessity, in the previous room in our den, and people started like calling. It's like, hey, it kind of became the thing. Like, oh yeah, Rob's got those lights. Rob's got those lights. How do you get those lights? I'm like, it's like a $20 light on Amazon. And so, you know, it's just got to be creative. Just got to be creative. Yeah. Some really good question. Hey, Graham's here. Graham's my dude, man. He's got an awesome channel. He's on our Facebook group. I have huge window in window envy right now. Window envy. Rob is illuminated. Thanks, Mike.
We've got a question.
Yeah.
Hold the phone. Right. There's a question. Top 3 things you say changing in the world of digital marketing in the coming years. Ooh, that's an interesting. That kind of lends itself to something I was going to ask you about as well.
Yeah,
so ask that afterwards.
I'll try to see if I can come up with 3, but I think in my head right away, I think live videos, just more and more live videos. You know, I mean, even right now, obviously we're, you know, the time that we're in right now, you know, there's a lot of speakers, there's a lot of businesses that can't host events. There's lots of conferences and things like that. So just even that little pocket of the world of like, of the internet, that normally is traveling. Dan, I mean, you do the same thing, you know, video marketing world. We were all supposed to be hanging out in Dallas a couple months ago. That didn't happen. VidCon right now, I think, and then Vid Summit, everything is going, you know, virtual. So videos, you need to, one way or another, you're going to come up to a point where if you're a business person, entrepreneur, brand, you're going to come up to a point where you need to figure out videos, whether it's live or recorded, or for social media, for Instagram, like something, you know, that's just the way that people are consuming. People have less and less attention span. People still consume blogs for sure. They still read, you know, there's certain things that you just want to read, but for the most part, to get people's attention has to be through videos. And then the next thing is, I mean, I talk about this, I kind of make a joke about it all the time, but like closed captions, right? Because people are usually turning off their thing. They're watching content, but they don't, even when they're at home, they don't want the audio on because everyone else in their household is also on the phone. And you don't want to be the person that distracts everyone, has your audio on. So again, this is kind of where Quicc comes in for me, is that having closed captions really helps, because then you're able to differentiate yourself in that video and hopefully use it as a way to stop the scroll. And so those 2 things. I think there's going to be a lot more in the YouTube world, in the video world. There's more and more people that are using cable. And so, combined with the fact too that a lot more people are consuming YouTube content on their TVs. It's just the way things are. So they're not watching TV like regular shows. They're watching Netflix, or they're watching YouTube, or they're watching their favorite, vlog, or, Vox, or whatever channel. So they're going there for entertainment, and not just on your mobile phone, but also on the TV. People are spending more time at home. So that's becoming their entertainment. YouTube Kids. I mean, my kids are on YouTube Kids. You know, my kids are watching, you know, my son's watching a gamer. You know, he likes Minecraft, so he's watching some gamers. So I think as a brand, you need to pay attention to that, you know, and just make sure that you are thinking about how you get in front of your audience in sort of the next, like in the new world that we're going into, where people are watching more TV, watching more YouTube, less cable. And so figuring out how to get into video. So I think that's kind of that's what I can speak into, Militia. There's a ton of things happening with, I'm sure, sales funnels and how you're doing digital marketing and Facebook ads and things like that. There's a lot of trends I'm seeing, but that's just not my space. But there's definitely some things I've noticed with ads more and more. They don't seem like ads. So that's not a new thing. That just seems to be more something I'm noticing more, Dan. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but the ads they seem like just regular posts, but they're paid ads. They make it look very, you know, not as produced, you know, and things like that. So that's yeah. So in the whole digital marketing space with all that stuff, there's a lot of things happening as well. But I can all probably speak into videos.
I think the thing you said about ads, funny if that was something we were talking about internally just the other day, and I think what we have noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed the same, is that there's many ads that don't look like ads, but it makes the ads that are looking like ads stand out like a sore thumb. So like now, if I'm watching YouTube content, or if I'm scrolling through Instagram or whatever I'm doing, and I come to an ad that doesn't look like an ad, I will stop and I'll look at it, I'll read it, I'll actually engage with it and thinking, oh, I don't care that it's an ad, it's just a good piece of content. And then there's other ads out there that it's like straight away someone really loud saying like, stop, your business is going down the toilet, or something like that, and that's how they start it. And I just think, ugh, ad. I can't wait for the 5 seconds to time out so I can skip it. It just makes those ones stand out like a sore thumb. I think content is really interesting the way you can use it like that. I think Mike needs to thank you for a second, because Stop the Scroll is a new Quicc slogan.
I'll be waiting for the shirt. No, I'm kidding.
I got a beanie. I can send you a beanie if you want a beanie.
No. With the new slogan there, Stop the Scroll. Quick.
Oh, we got another question from Graham.
Sure.
How do you stand out from the deluge of emails that everyone's getting these days?
Ooh, yeah. Again, email's not my thing. I mean, I do update my our list. So there's, I guess, in terms of email, what we do at TubeBuddy, we do a monthly update on what's happening. You know, there's any updates internally, any updates, any events we're attending, speaking at, that sort of thing. You know, sometimes we'll do a promotion, but it's once a month. It's something that our audience expects. You know, pretty steady open rates and stuff like that. We don't get really too fancy with our emails at TubeBuddy. If you're a user, you'll probably agree. You don't get too much from us. You'll get onboarding emails, so that's a little bit different, I guess. But that's just onboarding emails when you sign up. There's a process, you know, for the next little bit for us to communicate with you and to help you how to get onboarded and activated and starting using our product. So again, very standard, nothing groundbreaking, but we're just very consistent with emails at TubeBuddy. For me, I do probably once a month, maybe twice a month, and they're typically new videos. I'm starting now to just actually record, you know, videos like a personal message, and then linking that in the email. And so less of like what you kind of think of like email newsletters with like a picture with text, I'm just creating like a personal video that I record on my webcam and kind of do a video email message that way. Same content, basically, same thing, same message. It's just in a video form. So I'm testing that out. And so just to give it more, you know, a personal touch. Again, that's kind of the way that I would do it. I'm not a huge like copywriter, so that's why I'm a video guy. So I'm not a great with words. And so, you know, as far as titles and subject lines and stuff like that, there's so many different ways to do that. Just pay attention to the things that you open to. That's what I do. I have a little folder in my Gmail inbox, in my Gmail folder, for emails that really like catch my attention. Like what the subject lines are. I'll keep them. So I've got a email. I think it's like email newsletter inspo folder. I just dump everything in there. And so whenever I have to write an email, I'll just go into that folder. I'm like, oh, these are the things that caught my attention. And so if I'm trying to reach people like me, then I kind of take inspiration from that. So
yeah, good advice for sure. I mean, let's face it, we know, and I'm sure many viewers do as well, that very little created these days is new. A lot of it's been recycled in different ways, different art markets, different niches. Very, very, very little of what we see is original.
Nothing new under the sun.
Another question from Dean. Can I run ads to sell my course? That's
good
a
question.
hole if ever I saw one.
Good question.
That's
man, I know you can. You can speak into this for sure. So my thing is, if you're gonna run ads, then again, I don't run ads, but this is talking to our ads person and just talking to different ads ads experts, Facebook ads, Google ads. You kind of have to look at your ads as a machine. So if you want to make money, if your goal is obviously to make money on it, because sometimes it's not, and I'll tell you why. So if your goal is to make money, and so you're gonna have to look at your ads as kind of like a machine. So if you put $1 into your ad, then as long as you get $1 plus, $1.10, $1.50, $2 at the other end, based on your conversions and stuff like that, then keep running ads. Spend as much money as you can. I mean, that's how we look at it at Thinkific. I mean, I remember, we look at the ads like, okay, this ad is working really well. Let's spend more money. Let's spend more money on this particular campaign, and so that's how you look at it. Now, there's some people there that run ads and they're okay to break even or even to lose money on the ads because their goal is to build an audience. They want to build a list. So they don't care about selling something. They just want to get in front of you, have awareness. This is a lot of Facebook ads just like this. They want to get in front of you so that you can, opt into their free lead magnet. And then once you're in their funnel, then they'll sell you whatever it is. They'll put you through the, the sequence, the email sequence and video sequence, and start retargeting you as well. So that's a big part of it, right? So there's lots of, in the black hat world of internet marketing, there's guys out there that don't necessarily have email lists; they have pixel lists. So I don't know if you guys might be in a pixel list, and those are things that are traded and sold, and that's just how the world works. And so they don't have your email, but they do have their pixel in their Facebook pixel, downloaded. You've downloaded their pixel into your browser, and so they can say, "Hey, Mr. Business Owner, I don't have an email list, but I have a list of people that are business owners or looking to learn about internet marketing or looking to learn about YouTube in a Facebook pixel list. And so if you have an ad, I can run an ad to X amount of people on Facebook specifically. And so that's just, and so that's depends on your goal there, Dean. But I'm assuming, because I know that you're building a course and you're working on courses, that you probably want to make money on it. So yeah, so as long as you look at it like if you can spend $1 on the other side, your landing page and everything converts to $1 plus, then go ahead and run ads. Yeah, you got to look at the margins. There's just, I think, there's just a minimum amount that you can sell something for. Like it needs to be at least X amount of dollars that you're selling something for you to get a return on it, or else it's just too cheap. Like your product may just be priced too low. So like, for example, let's just say if you need 100 clicks at $1 to sell something that is only $50, then you're spending $100 to get $50. So you're losing money, right? And so you need to either increase your cost, the price of your product, or find a way to find cheaper clicks, right? And that's just the math of it. So that's my answer. But Dan, I'm sure you have some thoughts on ads.
Oh, so many.
Or courses.
So, my take on that would be ads. I think many people don't split them from a mindset perspective of approaching ads, I don't think they split them appropriately between testing and validation and growth. So, I mean, I would start there because, I mean, funny enough, like literally right before I jumped on this live, I spent a couple of hours mentoring a number of London-based startups. So I do lots of startup mentoring, and I was literally back-to-back mentoring 8, 10 different startups in the same cohort. It's like speed mentoring. It's like 25 minutes with each one.
Wow.
And when I talk to them about ads, I'll say it like this, is that if you're trying to validate your idea, ads are a really good way, especially when you have a little bit of funding as well, or a little bit of cash behind you. It's a really good way to quickly validate your proposition. So if you're putting out social media content, it's going to take days, weeks, maybe even months to get a decent amount of yeses and nos as to whether or not someone's interested in what your proposition's going to be or not. So it's a really good way of testing and validating your idea or your concept before you start plowing lots of money and energy into it.
That's good.
But once you've validated that, whether you validated it via ads or whether you validated already via organic content, if effectively you can sell something via the validation of the ads or sell for something via organic, then the growth aspect from effectively the conversion that ads allow you to do. And how I describe that one is ads are purely an acceleration of what you have already validated. And if you're able to spend $100 on ads and get $500 in revenue, then it's only good business to spend $500,000 on ads, because you're going to exponentially get a hell of a lot more money in revenue. But if you're just trying this here and then trying that there and so on, you're just going to lose money before you even start to earn any. So I would definitely split the two between validation and growth for sure. Do one and then do the other, not together.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah. So do you think you start ads? So you start testing your, say, landing page and campaigns and ads, like your post, with just organic traffic, like through social media?
I think it depends on your timescale. I mean, right now, with Quicc, we are testing literally right now a number of different ads, because we're looking at going down a slightly different road with some of our content. And I mean, Mike can talk to this because we were talking about it just the other day. And with our content, we can go down different routes. We can go like the aspirational, transformational route. We can go down the problem resolution route. We can go down the education and edutainment route, humor and education at the same time. But we don't know which one of those is going to work unless we test it. So we are literally right now testing a bunch of different ads, and they're running as we speak on Instagram stories. And we're going to do some more in Facebook timeline as well, and see which ones perform. And I can tell you right now, humorous dog videos outperform aspiration or dry humor. So kind of like witty humor outperforms dry humor, and dog videos in general outperform kind of transformational videos. That's what I've gleaned from our data so far, because I was looking at it this morning.
Yeah.
But you don't know until you test it.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, on this whole courses thing, this is my life for like 5 years, almost 5 years, thinking about how to sell courses, Dean. So ads is good. Affiliates is good too. There's so many different channels. Ads is kind of like this thing where if you spend, you get, right? Like it's kind of like a tap, right? And so if you stop spending, then you stop making money, given that it is going to be it's a good converting campaign, and the ads and the landing pages and all that stuff works out. So it's good. It's a good thing, but start thinking of other ways too. Affiliates, doing podcast interviews, things like that. Getting out there, creating your own community. I mean, there's just so many ways to look at selling courses, just like any digital product or service. But yeah, really good question, man. Dean says, yeah, I got 10 students now, but I need to be talking about it more. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, here's another question. I'm really curious about your views on this as well.
Yeah, sure.
Is And just for everyone watching, any questions, like anything you want to drill into Rob's brain or maybe slant into my brain as well, you're more than welcome to. Just stick them in the comments and we'll jump into those as well. But funny enough, one of the things that came with this mentoring session just before this live stream was someone asked me the question. I'm really curious what your views on this would be. Is when you start creating organic traffic and organic content, and then you start paying for ads to try and boost traffic, do you think that there are some instances where the algorithm will start reducing your organic reach once you started going down the rabbit hole of paid ads and paid traffic in order to try and get you to spend more on paid?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the ways that I've seen that work. I've seen a lot of people run ads run ads, and then as soon as they stop, then it doesn't help their organic traffic, because I think maybe to what you're saying there, if you stop spending, then it's like, well, thanks, but I haven't when for most of the time when I've seen people run ads, even to like their YouTube videos, they'll run ads to it, just awareness campaigns, discovery ads. And as soon as they stop, they had like, you'd see like their videos and there'd be like this one video that had a huge spike. I'm like, oh, congratulations on that video. Like, no, we ran some ads on it. And then you kind of look at the stats, as soon as they stopped running the ads, the views kind of just like dropped to, close to nothing. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to do ads, it's just, you need to have the goal in mind. That's really it. Like what you said, Dan. So, either you're selling something, you're building a list. And so that's all you got to think about what your goals are. How about you? What do you think? Have you come to a conclusion on it?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that basically all the social media platforms, I don't think any of them aren't predominantly ad revenue generating machines. So, their entire purpose of the algorithms, they may say it's to serve a community, they may say it's to help creators get their message out there and everything, but really it's to keep eyeballs as much on their platform as they possibly can so they can serve more ads to those eyeballs. So I am very curious. I mean, you're never going to know what the algorithm actually does. But I mean, speaking to the creators that you do, I mean, obviously you speak to quite a few of them. What's the common trends between all of the creators that you think is common to all of them that creates that momentum and that eventually gets them the success and the growth and all the knock-on impacts that actually leads to? What do you think those commonalities are?
The commonalities, I would say there's probably three things. So one is they're consistent. Like whatever happens, I'm going to be posting a video on, whether it's monthly. Some bigger creators now, they just post once a month. Andrew, for example, Andrew Can on our team, he's focused on the TubeBuddy channel. So he doesn't have as much time for his personal channel, but he's killing it with the TubeBuddy channel. But for his personal channel, once a month he posts, and he does that. The second thing is that they're always students. They're still always students. Like I'll talk to Nick Nimmin and Daryl Leaves and Roberta Blake and, Vanessa Lau, and they're all constantly learning, and they never get to a point where they know everything. And I know this because when I ask them questions, there will be times where they say, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, and they're very humble in that way. They're not always, they never have every single answer. And I think that's important to keep in mind that, I think if you get to the point where you say, everything, then that's kind of when you're done, you're done. Like there's companies like that, right? There's companies that feel like they've figured everything out and they're set on their ways and they're not evolving. So especially if you're in this world of digital marketing that we're in, Dan, like YouTube, if you think you figured it out, tomorrow there'll be something new that you need to figure out. And so always be learning. And then the third thing I would say is they all to an extent have a process. Nothing is by accident. Nothing is just like, I don't know, this week I'll just do this. There's always a process. Not everything, but for most of the things, the core things of what they do for their business, they have a process. They have a process for recording. They have a process for editing. If they have a virtual assistant or somebody doing some things for them, there's a process for it. There's a process for billing. There's a process for getting sponsors. So nothing is just left up for chance. Like, oh, I don't know, this week I want to get a sponsor for my videos. They're not just going to like hope and sit. They have a process. They have an outreach process. They know their numbers. And so yeah, they know their process and they have, that really locked down. So I would say that those three things I've always kind of noticed with most of the really successful content creators I've come across. Yeah.
I mean, one actually funny if I would add to that is, I mean, we've got some really interesting announcements and feature updates and new integrations coming with Quicc, and I can't talk about the biggie quite yet.
Oh, here we go.
But one thing, I mean, you helped me with this, in fact. So you know what it is, but we can't say it yet. We're going to tease it slightly.
Mike's gonna end this live stream right here. No.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, Mike, drop. So there's this really interesting integration that we've got coming, nice. and this particular integration partner that we're working with, they wanted to speak to a number of YouTubers, specifically because they want to really just dig into the brains of YouTubers to help their own product development. And you put me in touch with a bunch of people, and I contacted a few that I knew as well. And I'm not talking small creators. We're talking like some of the big, most well-known creators out there. And the thing that I found, which I did say to some of them as well, I actually thank them for being so gracious with it all, was every single one of them said yes to helping out. And every single one of them didn't hesitate at all. And at least half of them said something along the lines of always happy to help out the community, always happy to help out with the creators, always happy to help, always happy to, and so on. And that all of them said that, and I didn't get a single no, and not a single one of them didn't say something like that. And I was really humbled by it. I mean, genuinely. These are busy people, huge channels, big 6-figure, 7-figure, even 8-figure businesses. Yep. And they still were more than happy to take the time out to help the community and help other creators who are on the journey, way further behind them. And yeah, like I said, I'm massively humbled by it.
Yeah, I think what they figured out, Dan, is that there is no competition on YouTube, and it's really hard even for me sometimes to think about. But they figured out that there is, I think, and it just comes with experience. And I think a lot of the names that I introduced you to, I mean, you knew a lot of them anyway, but a lot of them, they are in the same space. Like they're talking about the same topics. They typically have almost the same videos on the same topics, addressing different things on YouTube or entrepreneurship or whatever. But I think they figured out that they're better to be connected than to not be, and because there's enough. It's almost like they're a team, they'll do collaborations together. They're not afraid. And you kind of look at them and you look at smaller creators sometimes, and I'll see a smaller creator or somebody starting new in this world, and they'll be very guarded. They'll be like, I want to do my own thing. I want to do this. And I don't want to do collaborations, interviews. I don't want to give you the shine with my audience, because then now they'll start following you and not me. And, I think it's very it's a small sort of thinking, because if you look at where do you want to be? Do you want to be a big creator? Do you want to have X amount of subscribers, multiple revenue streams? Then look at what these guys are doing, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, what they're doing. And, they're collaborating. They're in each other's videos, because I understand that their audience is already following all these other creators in their space. So why try to fight it? Instead, then come together and do videos together, create content together, even do summits together, even teach in each other's. Some of them are teaching in each other's courses, in each other's memberships. And and they've realized that people love that. They love seeing, like, their audience likes seeing, you know, Roberto inside of Nick's videos and vice versa. And it elevates it. It like multiplies the views, you know, they're sharing their audiences. So yeah, I think, you know, it was something that I really, from an outsider's point of view, from when I wasn't at TubeBuddy, I was like, oh, that's cool that they do that. Like, are they really all like that? And then you see them in person, you hang out with them. We hung out with them at Social Media Marketing World. They're all like that, you know, they just, hey guys, I got to go. I got to do a video with so-and-so. And I got to do a video with so-and-so. And that's all they're doing. They're just collaborating.
I think, and I don't think it's isolated just to the YouTube community. I think YouTube community is much more open about it. But oddly enough, like literally just before this, again, one of the startups that I was talking to, it's funny this actually comes up because we talked about it for quite a while. Was one of them was really sensitive and almost losing sleep at night, and we ended up going into a bit of a mindset chat about this because they said, well, what's your thoughts about getting potential advisors and collaborators to sign an NDA before we actually tell them what the idea is, so they don't go and steal my idea? And I was just like, you're thinking of it like competition. You're thinking of it like they're going to go out and steal your idea. But at the same, but if you think about it from a slightly different point of view, and this is how I explained to them, was I genuinely don't believe in the concept of having competition. I only think competition exists in the eyes of your audience until such time as you as a brand gets them on your side and earns their trust. And as soon as that point has been hit, as long as you don't lose their trust, because obviously that's not great. Up until that, beyond that point, competition doesn't exist, and it only exists in their eyes while they're trying to decide, you know, should I go with that company or that company? You know, which one do I like more? Which one am I going to trust more? That's when competition exists. And if you're the one who is the more trustworthy, the one who they connect with, the one who's like their people, then it's a no-brainer. You know, so you don't need NDAs. Yeah, it's a moot point. Yeah,
no, you don't. Yeah, it's crazy out there. I mean, I hope that's, I mean, speaking to malicious question earlier about trends in digital marketing. I mean, hopefully that's something that, you know, collaborations, more collaborations. Yeah, I mean, you guys know the business side a little bit more, but, you know, definitely on the social side and video side, YouTube side. I mean, if you're trying to build an audience, that's probably one of the biggest ways to build an audience. And, you know, I mean, I'm pretty transparent. That's why you guys see a lot of interviews on our channel. There's a lot of collaborations happening. You know, if it was just a show where I talk by myself to our TubeBuddy users, it would probably not do so well. I'll probably run out of stuff. They'll be like, okay, Rob, like we've heard everything. But, you know, by bringing on a new guest every time, it's awesome. You know, people love it. They love to learn from somebody different. They love to gravitate to someone or kind of see themselves in the person that I'm interviewing, you know, like, hey, that's me. You know, I'm a beauty vlogger, or, you know, I'm talking about the solar system on YouTube. That's my space, astronomy, you know, that kind of thing. I'm talking about Graham Hay right now, who's in the crowd. But, you know, and yeah, so yeah, man, it's hopefully looks like you guys are getting Quicc earmuffs.
Yes, apparently Mike has them on order. Not quite sure what they're going to say, but I will. I mean, I'm in London, as you can probably tell by the accent, and Mike's in Wichita. So swag orders all done out of the Wichita office. I have no say nor responsibility. Just putting that out there. I'm just going to say that.
That's awesome.
So we're hitting the point of the live stream where we're going to have the quickfire question round.
Oh no! Okay, I didn't know we were going to do this. Okay,
I know you didn't. That's the point.
That's the whole point.
So 5 questions, and they're nice ones, apart from a bit of a doozy at the end, which is going to make you think.
All right.
You ready?
All right. I'm just not going to think. I'm just going to say what's in my mind.
Okie doke. That's a London colloquialism, by the way. Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Question 1. What was the last book you read from cover to cover?
Last book that I read from cover to cover. That's a really good question. The last book that I read, cover to cover. Oh, the last one would have been Boundaries. There's a really good book, Boundaries. Not business related at all. Can be, actually, but really great book, Boundaries. How to put boundaries around different aspects of your life, which is actually really healthy.
Everyone keep a note of that one.
Yeah.
Question number 2. Not quite quick fire round. I should probably like up the tempo of this.
All right.
The favorite item within your home, and it can't be your wife and children.
Favorite item within my home, I would have to say, plug the TubeBuddy mug.
Really? You're going to pick a mug?
Yep, got to plug the
You are
mug.
a
This
man
is.
of
I hold this every day.
small, small pleasures. Okay, fine. When you're traveling, an exploration extravaganza or relaxing on a beach?
Oh, beach, especially right now. Could use a beach.
Good to know. First thing you would do if you won the lottery tonight?
First thing I would do if I won the lottery tonight, what would I do? I'd probably buy a car or a truck and plan a road trip across Canada. Go see Graham on the East
That
Coast.
sounds really nice.
Yeah.
I've never been to Canada yet. Coronavirus, you suck because you
No.
stopped my Canadian trips.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, number 5. This is the curveball.
Here we go.
Who would win in an MMA fight to the death? Mike Tyson or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Oh, MMA fight, right? So everything,
MMA.
no holds
Yep.
barred.
No holds barred. You can
The
do wrestling,
Rock.
you can do boxing.
The
do anything
Rock, for
else.
sure. The
You reckon?
Rock. Oh yeah, The Rock
Oh.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go with that.
Yeah, The Rock for sure. Yeah, man. Those are good questions. Love it.
I tried to think of some random ones that kind of like showed your personality. We've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Hang on.
Let's do
No,
it.
we haven't. What is the air speed velocity of a Laden swallow?
I feel like Graham knows the answer, so he's just setting himself up.
I'm going to say 35 miles per hour without a tailwind.
No. Yeah, I was going to say 50.
Comments if that's right. You
I
reckon
was going to say 50 kilometers. 50 kilometers an
Canadian
hour.
backwards. It's
Canadian.
into kilometers. Oh, really? Okay, fine. Is it an African swallow or a European swallow?
Oh, really specific.
The hell?
Graham, do you know the answer? Let us know. Did we get
Is
close?
this called ornithology? Is that what the study of birds is? I can't remember. It's either going to be ornithology, it's the study of birds, or it might be like the medicine around bones. I can never remember. It might be
One or the other.
orthodontics.
One or the
No,
other.
what's orthodontics? I can't remember. I'm showing my intelligence here, or lack thereof. And Mike is saying thank you for sharing time. See, he's doing a segue into parting ways.
That's
Parting
right.
such sweet
Thanks,
tomorrow,
Mike.
as it were. That's
Thanks,
probably Mike
Mike.
saying, guys, wrap it up.
Mike is, by the way, Mike can really sing, by the way, if you guys didn't know. I got the opportunity to do some karaoke with Mike.
As in the CEO of Quicc, Mike. As in my
Yes.
boss, Mike.
Yes.
The person who signs
yes,
my contract, Mike.
Yes. I got some pictures. No, I'm kidding. I don't. No.
Mike, why
No,
did you not tell me this?
Mike is Mike. Come on. Now he's gonna shut it down in 10, 9.
So, see, I had a live stream with Mike 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And if I had have known that before, I absolutely would have forced him to sing.
Next time. Now you know.
My 15-year-old niece actually got me to learn the Cup song. So I could have done that and he could have sung the lyrics.
Yeah. No, Mike, come on. Yeah, we gotta. I might even have some videos somewhere, but I'll show it to you.
Please.
Not here. That just wouldn't be good.
Oh, please
But
do.
I think it was in Los
Yeah,
Angeles,
please.
right, Mike? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was at VidCon. It was fun. Love the Quicc team. Awesome team.
Well, Rob, thank you very much for joining. It has been a pleasure. Mild pain. I'm kidding. Not really. And you're always welcome again anytime. Thanks for sharing your
Yes.
wisdom and your thoughts. And any questions anyone's got to have, anyone who wants to know anything else that we haven't covered in today's stream, then stick them in the comments below and myself and Rob will get to them for absolute sure. And look forward to next week where we've got another special surprise guest, because all week's guests are surprises until I post about them. and we'll see you next week.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Rob,
Dan.
thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.
Pleasure.